We'll start off here with Sewer Raiders, Ocean Mud's Reveal. A really good card showing that Syndicate's going to be a 2 thinning card faction, I guess we can call it, when you compare it to Scoia'Tael. They also have Broccolon Sentinels and Mahakam Volunteers, as well as, well, Skellige is a one. Skellige has the Drum and Shield Maidens, but they also have all sorts of stuff that can thin their decks, like tons of stuff. And then you have Northern Realms, which only has Blue Stripe Commandos. Wah, wah. But you can see Syndicate's going to be better off right away because they're going to have these guys and they're going to have the Casino Bouncers. So I think that Horde 4 is absolutely not going to be a problem because you just need to play 2 things that profit 2. It seems like those are priced very low in the first place. So there's probably lots of strategy setup cards you can play that's going to profit you enough that you can just casually thin your deck early in round 1 if you have one of these in your hand. And the cool thing is it seems like there's a lot of hand fixing for Syndicate. So if you don't hit all your deck thinners, at least you can comfortably put these things on the bottom of your deck in case you draw them later. I think that the thinning cards are going to do really, really well for Syndicate, as all thinning cards tend to do. Hammond and Shinmeri put it so well. Shinmeri put it so well. He said he likes pirates, he likes ships, but never on the same day. This is an 8 provision point unit, 5 strength for Skellige and for the Syndicate. Deploy on the melee row, boost all allied pirates by 1. Deploy on the ranged row, boost all allied ships by 1. So you can play this in a deck that plays mostly pirates or mostly ships or both. In Skellige, you want to play this with like Corsair and stuff like that, and as well as the new Skellige ship or Syndicate ship, the Tidecloak Hideaway, as well as all the great ships and pirates that Skellige already has. This is one already as well. I believe he is also a pirate tag. So pirates and ships definitely have the support. They have good units. They already had some decent units, but they just didn't have like a good kind of fleshed out core of cards that you would want to put in because you need to have that power. So this is, you could look at this like Isengrim of the Sea as well. This guy just comes down, just makes the board better. In a long round, he's going to help you out a lot. He's not the best top deck, I guess. So you want to just not be, you're not too happy about that. But he starts off at 5 strength. If you're looking for like a pound for pound value for provisions, you're pretty happy to play this guy anywhere between mid to late, and you probably have a board that's good one way or another. The bad thing is he is board dependent, and once you play him, he doesn't do anything else. But he is 5 points, so he'll give you that much. I think he's good. I think that we're going to see a lot of experimentation with pirates and ships in both Skellige and Syndicate. So this guy is probably going to find a home in one of those iterations. Cool card. I like it. Trinet's Reveal, the Flying Redanian. This card is a monster. This card is a pretty cool card. 10 provisions for a 4 strength unit. Horde 9. On turn end, summon this unit from your deck to or graveyard, to a random allied row. So just as a refresher, when that says Horde 9, it means that if you have 9 coins in your coin purse at turn end, at any time, on any turn, I should say, whether the Redanian is in your deck or graveyard, it's coming back. So you can think of this like old Ceres, or current Ceres, I guess. You can think of this like Ceres, a card that you're not crazy about playing from hand, but a card that's going to get you value in more than one round as a little extra push. So this makes short rounds really strong. It's really not hard to have Horde 9. It seems with Tidecloaks, you have a leader that just fills your coffers immediately. Seems to be a lot of profit and a lot of reasons to not spend your gold, which is really great because I think that it really makes it better and more, it makes coins more interesting in that way. You don't always, like in a matchup against the Syndicate, you're not always going to look at your opponent's coin purse and say, okay, they have 8 coins, so they can get 8 more points. It's not going to be that simple because there is a lot of incentive to not spend coins. So it really kind of changes that, I guess, kind of like black and white nature of how coins could be valued as we get more and more familiar with the faction. So this card is really awesome. This card is, it's kind of like Roach, it's kind of like Ceres. It is expensive, but it's going to likely get you value. You would generally only want to play this in a deck. It's a ship as well, I imagine. So you could say that, you know, Hammond liked this card as well as the other ship-friendly cards. Oh, it makes Hammond a better top deck, I guess, if you're expecting to have a ship. if you're expecting to have a ship. So this is cool because it means that the cards they're printing that are dual Skellige, they don't have to have spends on them or anything like that, or they don't have to feel lame because they don't have fees on them, or spends on them, or tributes on them, because Tidecloaks don't want to spend. They want to hoard. So Skellige doesn't care about the coins. That's pretty cool. This isn't a Skellige card. I'm just saying. What they do with Hammond and Sucrose don't have anything to do with spending at all, but they still feel very good Syndicate cards, so they feel like good Skellige cards as well. Anyway, this card just seems really good, a cool alternative to Ceres in a deck that wants to do this kind of thing, but it seems like, you know, your opponent can't really influence this any more than any of these other cards like Roach or Ceres, but that 4 is can be infinitely more important. These games of Gwent can be close. Sashimi's revealed Bincy Bloomerhold. This is a 10 provision point, 4 strength unit played on the ranged row. Whenever you gain crowns, boost self by 1 for each crown gained. This is very scary when you already see a leader like Gudrun who gains 9 crowns on order. So you play this card for 13 points if, and only if, but not only if, it's always 13 points because Gudrun will just boost the excess anyway. So Gudrun's ability makes this a 13-point card when played for 10. For face value, that doesn't seem that crazy. But there could be a combo in here that makes this card, like, electrically terrifying. I've heard people musing that there's some ways to make this up in the 20s. Probably about gaining crowns, then playing this card. Or playing this card, gaining crowns. It's also an engine. You don't play this... This isn't, like, on a one-turn thing. This is like you play this card, and then you boost it, and then it's an engine. But it's always going to be Scorch Bait. So you got to be careful with the last play. What can you do with this card last play? But the thing about this card is that it's a last play card, but it's also an engine card because we've already seen that there's lots of ways for quick bursts. This card, it's two things. It's an endgame bomb or a devastating engine because if it's made resilient or made immune, this is a card that is just out of control. But it can be ignited or scorched. I think it just looks scary because we see this potential, but keep in mind that we're adding this to a faction that doesn't exist, and there are a lot of factions that have bomb cards. But I know this card's potential is extreme. So look out for Bincy. She's coming for you. I'm just saying, don't underestimate this little one right here. Tidecloak Ransackers revealed by Momen. Another 4 provision point unit. They are getting their fair share of these cards because they're a new faction. It's going to seem like there's a ton of these cards. Because Crimson Curse brought a ton of 4 provision point cards too as well. So we have the Tidecloak Ransackers, 4 provisions, 2 strength, deploy, damage an enemy by 2, and death blow, gain 2 coins. Hoard 5, trigger the death blow even if the enemy unit survives. So basically if you're playing these guys late and you've already hoarded enough gold, you just play them and profit some more. So it seems like profiting is easy. However, if you play this early, you're getting a decent amount of value, 4 for 4, plus the coins that are just starting your horde train. So the earlier you can play these guys, the earlier you can play your sewer raiders to get your thinning going. If you can play these guys late enough, you don't have to kill anything. You're just playing it for value. I think that the only one, I just don't know if this is a one of or not. I think it's hard for me to evaluate these cards because this is a card that cares about coins gathered, but also cares about gaining coins in the first place. So I think that this card is good because the opportunity is very flexible. The opportunity cost is low for this card. You're going to get your value one way or another at different times or another. So seeing that this card is almost always a 4 for 4 that gains 2 coins, I mean, I think I have to look at what the benchmark is for a card that profits at 4. We've already seen, we already saw the Eternal Fire Disciple. So this Eternal Fire Disciple here, this card is a 4 for 4, but not really a 4 for 4 because you can spend the fee right away and you can spend the fee later. But it's essentially a 4 for 4 because you lose the coins you get. And in the case of the Tidecloak Ransackers, you're getting the value up front always because you always get that deployability. But then you're also getting the 2 coins, and that condition seems very easy to meet. So these guys seem better than the Eternal Fire Disciple. Obviously, the Eternal Fire Disciple is accomplishing different tasks. But these seem like they're probably in the upper tier of a profit-based 4 provision point card. So I like this card. All right, everybody, the Fence. Fence is a 4 provision point, 3 strength unit. She's sitting. She's ready to sell you jewels or fix them. What does the Fence even do? Deploy, ranged, gain vitality for a duration equal to your coin count. Tribute 3, boost self by your crown count instead. So, straight up, this card seems bonkers for a 4P, just like Sea Jackal does and still does, because this card appears to be able to do a lot for 4P. However, you don't have to spend much to do it. So, like, I would play this any day for, like, 4 vitality. Like, that's pretty good already. You already are fine getting that super unique condition of bonded with the Enchantress in Northern Realms. You're like, damn, I got the 4 vitality and it all paid off. This is better than that card because generally you're probably going to get to 4 vitality fairly easily because, like I said, it seems like getting to 4 for Horde is probably pretty good. And then also, if you spend 3, you boost her right away. The thing I don't get, though, I think you spend the 3 and then it does the boost. So it'll boost for less. The highest this card could ever be is 10 if you play her without the tribute and let her tick. And she's not removed for the entirety of the game, which is completely unrealistic. So let's say that her reaching 10 is unrealistic. But we'll say that her reaching 9 is not all that unrealistic. However, her being a last play 9, you could say is maybe greedy. That seems greedy. However, if you play it earlier than that, then it's could be a Scorch bait, could be a Chris Corruption bait, could just get caught. The thing is, if the card just gets caught, you're not too sad because this is a 4 provision point card. We're talking about dealing with a 9.4 provision point card. Even if it's 8, even if it's 7, it's incredibly above rate, and this is a really good card, right? It seems like a very, very good card, right? And it seems like there's so many ways for it to be good. Stop me if you disagree. Could you not compare this card to Necker Warrior? Sort of. Not in the late game value. It's better than Necker Warrior. You get some good vitality on it early, it's probably Necker Warrior good. It's probably like Engine good. Nazga Sergeant good. But because you have this alternate mode where you could just play her for like a bunch of points, that's where she seems like she could be too strong. The fact that she can gain a bunch of vitality is not scary. Even the fact that she can boost, the fact that she can do it both, I think it makes it. The fact that she has both modes, I think, just makes it like it's so good, right? It's so good. I definitely have to look up how to pronounce these fine folks. Vitor and Elyria. There we go. Boom! 9 provision point, 5 strength unit, but it is a pair of pirate friends on the card art. Don't know anything about these characters at all, but I don't think they're new characters, but I'm not sure. They're awesome looking. Let's talk about the card though. 9P, 5 strength, profit 1, order, damage unit by 1. Horde 6, damage unit by 2, cooldown 1, reach 2. Now that is a lot of numbers and keywords for a card. I'm not complaining. I love cards that have a lot going on in them. I don't mind if there's like 2 paragraphs on my MTG cards, and I don't mind that there are 6 different instances of numbers and 6 different instances of keywords if you want to count damage. I think it's awesome. So let's dissect this card because there's a lot happening in this card. There's something for everyone in this card. So, Weevil89, what's going on? What's good, Weevil? He's saying it's Imlerith Syndicate. That's one way to look at it. So it is a 5 strength engine that damages a unit by 1, but under a certain condition, damages a unit by 2. Plus that has a cooldown of 1 and a reach of 2. So from that perspective, yes. If you understand Imlerith, you understand how this card can be very good. But this card is also even better because it profits you 1 as well. And you don't even spend to use the ability. You do have to wait, of course. It is an order. But I think that Like, the card doesn't really have to give you the profit to be good, I think, but it's very good with the profit. It's very good with that little extra added little bonus. They have carefully peppered profit throughout the entire set, even if a card didn't need it. Like, you could make this card better by lowering the horde by 1. It would be obviously insane if you increase the strength by 1, but I'm not saying that they would do that. Or removing the reach or whatever. You could make this card better in a lot of different ways, but they chose to add a profit 1, which is great. Makes the card feel absolutely belonging to the faction. Makes it feel like they have a faction engine that is comparable to another factions, and we should have those cards because we're getting a new faction from nothing at all. So this is a great card. This card is as good as any good engine is in a faction that can protect a good engine, which this faction has protection. Even though it would be an expensive combo, we haven't really seen how this faction can do protection at the lower end. I can't remember, but there's probably a few ways that I'm just forgetting or we haven't seen them yet. There's a freeze frame for you. Coerced Blacksmith, 5 provision points for a 4 strength unit. It is an engine. Profit 1, fee 1, boost an allied unit by 1. So you go from Hvitir and Alidia, I can't remember how her name is pronounced already, and you come to a card like this, which is just a much more simplified card, obviously. So he gives you a coin and you can spend it right away for a boost. So solid 5 for 5, but it's a coin dump. I guess we have cards like this, like Tide Jackal. A lot of cards at the lower end are these coin dumps, which is why I think that the golds for a Syndicate don't have to blow you out of the water, because you have these coin dumps. And because this coin dump, like Tide Jackal, like Sea Jackal, I always get it wrong, it's Sea Jackal, I think. This card as well, if you have last say, let's say you play Gudrun late in round 3, you play a card like Bincy who gets like a huge benefit from it. But if you already have this card on the board and it sticks to the last round, you just cash it in. Like, just getting immunity or a shield on a unit like this changes everything, right? Especially if you're playing Gudrun. I feel like I can only really think of it from Gudrun's point of view, because Cleaver is not a coin-based leader. I think this card is actually quite dope, and if you can get a shield on this, it does twists the board state a little bit. I could be so wrong. This could be a freezing cold take. Because Syndicate looks like it's going to be really consistent with their decks, I think with like something that can protect this could be like something you look for late in the game. Tzeentch, good reveal there. Also, Hvitir and Alida was best Marmot as well. And now we're going to go on to Cleaver, revealed by Gwent designer Austri. We got Cleaver. We got leader number 2 for the faction. Another 15 provision point leader. So Cleaver's coming in, rocking the 165 with the order. Play a special card from your deck with a cost 9 or lower. Increase this value by 1 for every 2 crimes in your starting deck. 9 is a really high threshold. It's almost like you don't even have to include the crimes, but you would because you're playing special cards. So his ability might as well say, I mean, it's good, right? You're probably getting this to 11. Now, I know Pumpkin revealed a card. Novigradian Justice. So this is an 11-point special. So we can see that you are incentivized to play 4 crimes, so you can play this card, probably, right? This amazing card. Is this amazing? I haven't really looked at this card. Yeah, outside of Syndicate, you want to try a Dwarf deck now because that Novigradian Justice card is a SKEWERTOOth dual card. So, yeah, this special card is great. But the thing is, SKEWERTOOth has ways to get their special cards too. So, and they can play and replay special cards. Talking about, I need to actually hear a SKEWERTOOth expert talk about Novigradian Justice. I'm afraid that my freezing cold old man takes are just going to be not even good enough for Novigradian Justice. I think Cleaver is a very good, interesting leader that's going to function like Dana. You're going to be able to get that 11-point new crime, and anything below that, if you draw it, there's going to be lots of good crimes at 9, I think, 9 and 10. Because I think that this is a very good special card-focused faction. There's going to be a lot of low unit decks, and this is going to be a leader for it. You're going to want to play like the big beefy dwarves that do stuff for you, and a bunch of supporting specials like Tavern Brawl even. I think, honestly, that so far both decks, both leaders, the Tide Cloaks look like they have tons of support. Fence, Sea Jackal, Coerced Blacksmith, good pirates in general, good cards in the faction in general. I think that Gudrun's going to be fine. I think Cleaver's going to be quite good as well. So there's another card. So let's get this one ready. Roadhouse, Russian streamer. This is the tutor. This is the Menno. But I think that this guy sees play, though. I think this guy sees play. So you get this dude with Roach, and he plays Congregation. So that's 5 bodies on the board right away. Yennefer loves it. He's pretty good, right? Pretty good. All right, we talked about this. Where are we at here? Oh yeah, the mystery card. Did we get a name for it? All right, I think I know. But it seems like he is an educated man, and it seems like he is interested in the natural things that are in the earth. So, who knows? Profit 2, fee 1, give an allied unit vitality for 1 turn. So this is like the Coerced. So this I feel like really compares to the Coerced Blacksmith. So the Coerced Blacksmith has a fee to boost, and this guy has a fee to give vitality. Unless I'm missing something about this card, I think this card is just bad. It's bad in the set where this exists. You just always play this first. Correct me if I'm wrong. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? Give me the boost. Give me the boost. Swindle. This is a 4 provision point special card that was revealed by Hannah Gwent, one of the Gwent Open champions, Hannah Chan. 4 provision point. Profit a random amount between 4 and 6. Obviously, no one likes this card because it has the word random in it, but it is fine because if you're into killing time, if you're into playing unitless decks and killing time and playing non-interactive and getting carryover in a way, this card will do that for you. And it has, I feel like 4 for 4 is already on rate because we've already seen 6 for 6 in Pickpocket. So it can only be good to great. So the range is good to great. I mean, I think Pickpocket is not a good card with this card. This card exists, making Pickpocket look bad. And the same thing happens, I think, when you look at Sangreal in Crimson Curse. The card's not really good because if you wanted to play a deck that cared about stuff like that, you'd play more Northern Realms, and they do better stuff with shields and vitality and stuff like that. So I feel like in this case, because Swindle exists, you probably would never play Pickpocket because this card can be a Pickpocket, but at worst, still fine. You can only have 9 coins. So this is a loot box and it should be illegal, right? Surprise mechanics. This card sees play in a deck that cares about like just doing unitless stuff. Intimidate. They have, now we've seen like 2 or 3 good 4-point crimes. The Intimidate decks are going to be so low to the ground. You're going to be able to put all sorts of crap in it. Portals and tutors. You're going to be able to get away with all sorts of stuff. Syndicate's going to be about being poor, right? Great value for low provisions. I think that's what I'm starting to see. Sir SKEWERTOOTH. This came in from wildcard.pro. This card is a good card, I think. You guys liking this set? You guys liking this faction, this set? I'm loving it. It's got Beast for the people who like Beast, Pirate for the people who like Pirates, Monster for the people who like Monsters, Soldiers, Knights, Humans. All the denizens of Novigrad. We already know a troll is coming. So like, it's got something for everyone. Pig Milva? Yeah. It's a big pig or a tiny man. 8 provision points for a 5 strength card. It's an engine because it has Intimidate 2. Also, Tribute 4, gain immune. Whoa. A 5 strength immune engine with a very aggressive engine. If there's a crime spree deck, we're going to find it. Cleaver makes it possible, right? So you're playing Cleaver Crime Spree. That's hard to say. You're playing Cleaver Crime Spree, and it's coming up at the end. You drop your immune boar at the beginning of round 3. You drop 2 crimes later on. Gets 4 points. Damn, this card's good, right? Great card to make resilient. This card is scary. This is a card that I can see that if it's breakable or there's a meta deck that just really abuses it and makes use of it, and it will be, right? It just doesn't see, like, I don't think 4 is, if there is something worth 4, which this is. Making an engine immune, people build combos around this. People build whole combos around this. You can just get you can get this 4 coins ready. We just saw Swindle. Boom. I'll play Swindle first, and then I'll play my 8.5 strength. You know, your opponent might play some Garbo at the beginning of round 2 thinking, he's not going to play. You play Swindle. They're like, okay, well, we'll play something like a little bit lower, a little bit, a little safe in a round 2 bleed. And then you drop this mother trucker on him. It's like, okay, so I decided to bleed you in round 2 with my 5 strength immune engine. That is, it's going to go, it's going to boost by 2 every time you play a crime card. So you basically, you win round 1 and you bleed with this guy. And I think it's legit. And that's my style. I do like bleeding. I am a bleed player. This card's good. Sir SKEWERTOOth. Scary card. Very good card. I think this card's going to see play. I think I'm going to play it. I think it's going to see play on my stream. All right. Such a great 2-0 card. I agree. Cleaver's Muscle. This is another SKEWERTOOth dual faction card. This one was revealed by Alessio, a.k.a. Ultraman. 5 provision for a 5 strength card. It's a dwarf and he has shield. There you go. So it's a dwarf for SKEWERTOOth. It's a dwarf for the Syndicate. If you like dwarves, this is another one. If you like dwarves that can't be killed very easily, this is one of those. So if you have a card that cares about dwarves on the board, this card is such a nuisance to kill, your opponent probably won't even bother. If that appeals to you, you will like this card. I don't think this card is going to be a barn burner of a card, but depending on dwarf-based engines, like Isengrim has his elf thing going on. There's dwarf things as well. Barclay Elves is a card. If you make dwarves that are just a nuisance to remove, it's just your opponent's just not going to bother. It's not worth it. So it makes Barclay Elves better, right? I'm just saying there's applications. These cards, like I say in previous reveal videos, these cards invite us to explore the territory. What was development thinking when they came up with this card? You have a faction that wants dwarves, a faction that can tutor crimes with crimes that can tutor dwarves, with leaders that can tutor the crimes. So it's not unrealistic to think that this is a crazy way to set up a round, right? Because this goes very well with Novigradian Justice. So these dwarves, well, they don't like this filthy human, right? So this is another dual faction SKEWERTOOth card. So SKEWERTOOth gets fleshed out right away. They get 2 cards today, back to back. One card doesn't really set the imagination ablaze as much as the other one, because this card has so much potential for both factions. This is a crazy good card. This is an 11-point card that thins a bronze unit from your deck, but if it's a dwarf, so it's probably always going to be a dwarf, but it's not dead if you don't have a dwarf. So that already is like amazing. It's amazing. For a card worth this much, for it to not be dead is so good. So there's also the Intimidate Dwarf, as Mole Spruce is saying. There's also the Crown Splitter Thug, which we had seen, and it's also an Intimidate engine as well. So these are already great cards that we've seen that work well with this card. But this is also for SKEWERTOOth. So every single SKEWERTOOth dwarf is like very good here. The Dwarven Mercenary, the Mahakam Defender. It's worth it. It's an expensive card, but it is worth it. And it is a card that Cleaver will play, because you will play 4 crimes minimum to get this up to 11 to play this card. But I'm saying that for an engine, you're happy. There are Intimidate Dwarves. There's 2 of them already. We've seen them. It's great. And the Shieldy Dwarf, shield doesn't deploy. It just exists, right? So the shields activate. It's good, right? Furko the Sculptor is a 9 provision point, 2 strength, melee unit, old school Gwent. 9 provision point, 2 strength unit that plays a crime from your deck. So here is the long-awaited, like this faction like we're even waiting for anything. It's all just being dumped upon us. Surprise, new faction next week. Oh man, that soon TM has never seemed so soon TM. Play a crime from your deck. So let's review the things that we have seen today that would make this card absolutely dope. First of all, we already saw Congregation, which is a crime that plays 3 units if you have 0 coins, 2 units if you don't. And it's a crime. So we have Furko at 2. We have, obviously, Roach, which is a card that's played with a gold card. So you play this card, you get Roach out, and what kind of crime could you play? Well, you could play Novigradian Justice, which plays a bronze unit from your deck, potentially 2. Well, let's play 2 Intimidate units, because you're playing 2 Intimidate units, like the Bare Knuckle Brawler, that bloodied up guy. It's a 4 for 4 with Intimidate. So now we've got 2 Intimidate engines on the board already, and maybe Roach as well. Yeah, it's in the reveal video. It just seems like you can do a lot. You can just do so much with this card. A tutor that plays a crime, and the crime plays units that benefit from the crimes. And you're playing lots of crimes. You have a leader that plays a crime. You have a great crime, and you have a great Intimidate engine in this card. And the 4-point cards, and you're portaling out those dwarves. So you're either portaling out those dwarves, or you're playing Furco. You're getting those dwarves. Basically, if you want 2 bare knuckle brawlers on your board, you're getting them. So here he is, the bare knuckle brawler. There is basically nothing stopping you from having 2 of these guys on the board. So it's scary, right? It's scary. You know how hard it is to deal with 2 engines compared to 1 engine? Infinitely harder. Infinitely harder. So the cards that we saw today were so good. These were really, really, really good cards that really blows open the special card low unit archetype with a truly great leader. Thanks again, everybody, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.